Welcome back to the Vuvuzela. Today we're chatting to Kirsten, who's a life coach here in Ballito, who will be sharing with us about her passion and how she's assisting clients during this time. Welcome to the Vuvuzela.
Hi.
Kirsten, tell us a little bit more about your business and what you specialize in terms of the life coaching sphere.
Okay, so I've always been the type of person who has naturally been wanting to help others. My friends always come to me for advice, those kinds of things, and somehow I just got drawn into the role of coaching people. And together with that, I struggled with an eating disorder myself for 15 years, which I went through a journey on to get recovery from. And it just became my absolute passion to know that there's a possibility for complete and full recovery from eating disorders, and I just wanted to bring that to other people, you know. So I went into coaching first as a broad spectrum, just to kind of see what it was all about, and I really loved it, and doors just started opening. And it was actually recently that I decided, well, there's this one thing I know how to help people with, so why not focus on it and make it kind of my niche, you know. So my business is just Kirsten Hunneyball Life Coaching, but I specialize or deal with eating disorders. And that doesn't mean only people that have full-blown eating disorders. It's anything from people who have low self-esteem, problems with food, problems with their body image, anything like that. So yeah, my desire is to create a safe space for people to come and work on this really real thing that has lights at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. So
wonderful, that's so positive. Kirsten, you know what, I think there's this whole mindset that eating disorders are teenage orientated. Is this the case, or what have you found during your experience of coaching people? I'm pretty sure it's a vast number of people from different walks of life. Tell us a little bit more about that.
100%. So eating disorders have no specific targeted group of people. It's like any other mental illness, because it is a mental illness, which a lot of people don't actually know that it is a mental illness. It can target anyone from the age of 4, 5, 6 years old, male or female, up until a person is old, and it can be with people for years at various degrees. Some people might not be sure if they have an eating disorder, but they might have disordered eating that plagues a lot of their life. So there's no one cookie cutter fits, like one size fits all. There's many different people, both men and women of any age. So yeah, it's definitely a smarty box full of people that struggle with this. Yeah.
COVID-19 lockdown, has this disorder been compounded during this time?
I think for some it has, and for some it's been just what they needed to start to recognize what they needed to work on to move out of it. A lot of people joke, I gained the quarantine 15, you know, I gained weight, and people also associate eating disorders with anorexia. Eating disorders can be binge eating, can be obesity, can be obsessive eating of clean eating, anything like that. So what happened with a lot of people during lockdown that I saw was people who were in the thick of it, who prior to lockdown didn't know how to get out and didn't have any support, then went into it further, you know. So but people who potentially were working on it utilized that time to work on it more. So I think there's a lot of jokes about the way that we eat during this lockdown period, but it can be real for a lot of people.
What are the warning signs that you have a problem?
Okay, so from a young age, you can start to recognize warning signs. I mean, kids will always get fussy with meals and all of those kinds of things. Warning signs at a young age include hiding and hoarding of food, include uncontrollable binges, night binges, lying about their food intake. Also perfectionism, high achievers at school, high-end athletes at school as well. Anyone who, it's more about the behaviors, the obsessive compulsive behavior, OCD, perfectionism, very low self-esteem, insecurity. Those kinds of things can be indicators, but the very obvious indicators would be things like someone is severely overeating or undereating, or you've noticed that after a meal they disappear to the bathroom for half an hour, or they're losing a lot of weight very rapidly, or they've become very obsessed in a certain way of eating, exercising, or or not eating. In adult life, it becomes a lot easier to hide, because a lot of the time the exercising and the losing weight and everything is shown to be a positive thing, and someone, oh, you lost so much weight, like, oh, you look so beautiful, and a lot of the time that person's actually really struggling with a disorder or disordered eating. Other times in adulthood, someone will be severely overeating, but maybe now they've got the privacy and seclusion of their own home, so no one ever sees them, you know. So I think the very obvious warning signs would be the food and weight fluctuations. However, eating disorders are a disease of deception. And if you are a person with a fully fledged eating disorder, you become a master of deception. You become able to hide it in any way, shape or form, and it could have absolutely zero warning signs. The only way that you would be able to know for sure if someone was struggling was if they said the words, I'm struggling.
Sure, I think it's a reality check for a lot of people. If somebody knows that within themselves they have an issue, or somebody close to them has an issue, what's the next step?
So the nature of eating disorders is based in deception. So I would say the first step going forward for an individual would be to do the opposite, which is to get honest about what's going on, whether it's with a loved one or a professional or anything like that. I think that for the family or someone who knows someone, the first step would be to lovingly and compassionately try and address the situation with them, possibly getting support from a coach in their process around it. However, unfortunately, it's one of those things that you can't actually do anything about, because no matter how much you do, you can't force someone else to decide for themselves, you know. So it's a mental illness and it's an addiction. It's also a psychological, physical, everything. It's got so many layers. So it can become very hard for the families or the loved ones. But I would advise that people seeking support in that way do go to a coach so that they can learn how to handle it correctly.
Kirsten, we could carry on forever about this topic, because I think it's one of those that is one of the hidden problems that so many people have, because people comfort eat, etc. But you know what, our viewers now know who to go to, and we're going to be sharing your details with them. And you know what, having gone through the life journey and the experiences yourself, I think has a major impact for other people, because they won't feel uncomfortable going to somebody who's never walked their walk. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been a privilege, and I wish you all the best going forward. And to our viewers, we'll be sharing Kirsten's details with you, and please get in touch with her or a coach that can assist if you know of anybody going through these sort of issues. Follow us on the Vuvuzela on all our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter and YouTube, and see you next time.